Right, we're going to start just going through these questions on algebra. The first one asks you to simplify m plus m plus m plus m. And if you add those m's together, you get 4m. Don't mix it up with m times m times m times m, which gives you m to the power of 4. Those are the two things that people confuse. Now we're going to simplify p times q times 4, and that's very simply 4pq. Part C, we're going to expand a bracket. So to do that, I'm going to use the grid method. So you put the 5 here, and you put the 3x minus 2 on the top, and then remembering that we multiply, we do 5 times 3x, which is 15x, and 5 times minus 2, which is minus 10. So it's 15x minus 10. Don't get confused by this minus sign. Don't sit there thinking it's a takeaway. I've got to do 5 takeaway 2, which is 3. This is a takeaway sign and a minus sign. They're the same thing, and a negative sign. So 5 times this is 5 times negative 2. I've got another one here, slightly more tricky, or not. So we put the 3y here, and then on top we put our y and our positive 4 plus 4. It's the same thing. Now 3y times y is 3y squared, and 3y times positive 4 is 12y. So our answer is 3y squared plus 12y. Now part D, more tricky here. We've got 2 brackets, and this is the sort of thing that's often confused by people on higher tier papers, because there's 2 things you can do with 2 brackets, and the thing to notice is there's a plus sign in the middle. So I'm going to treat each of these separately. So first of all, I'm going to do a little grid for the first one. So 2 times x minus 4, which hopefully you're thinking is 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 4 is 8, but it's 2 times minus 4, so it's minus 8. Now the second bracket here, 3 times x plus 2. So that's 3x, and it's plus 6, because that's 3 times 2. Now, I can now swap the first bracket for 2x minus 8. So I'm just going to colour that in. Here's the first bracket, and this is the thing I got from the first bracket. And then I'm going to add the second bracket, which was this bit. So I'm going to add 3x plus 6. And now the final mark comes from going 2x and 3x make 5x, and minus 8 and plus 6 make minus 2. Now for a bit of trial and improvement, and you'll want your calculator for this. So off we go. We're going to start off by doing a little grid, and the grid's very simple. It's going to have an x, then it's going to have the x cubed plus 20x equals 71, and then it's going to have a comment. And they tell us that the solution is between 2 and 3. So we're going to start with 2.5. And I'm going to write 2.5 because that's my guess for x, and I'll put the cubed on it, plus 20 times 2.5. And then I'm going to type that into my calculator. And you can type that straight in, and it will look exactly like that. If you're not sure about that, then have a look at the calculator video. So that gives me 65.625, and the comment is that's 2 small, because I'm after 71, remember. So now I'm going to go to 2.6. I'm just going to edit my calculator display, and that gives me 69.576. Still too small. Let's do 2.7. Hi Rory, can you go upstairs please? I'm just doing something. Do you mind going upstairs? Because I need a bit of quiet here. We can go in the lounge if you're quiet. And 2.7 gives 73.683. And that is too big, too large. Because I'm after 71, remember. Now, all we need to do now to get the last marks is do the midpoint of those two numbers, because we know that the answer has got to be in between 2.6 and 2.7, because 2.6 is too small and 2.7 is too large. So in order to get all of our marks, we now need to do 2.65. And I'll explain why that is, but even if you don't understand it, it's very important you do it if you want to get all the marks for these questions. Now 2.65 gives 71.609 and some other stuff. And that of course is too big. Only just. Because remember, after 71 it's pretty close, isn't it? Now, to get our final mark we're going to decide which of these two numbers is the right number. And the way to do it is this. You draw yourself a number line and you put 2.6 on it. You put 2.7 on it. And then in the middle, you put 2.65. Now, 2.6 was too small, 2.7 was too large, and 2.65 was too large. And what that's telling us is that the answer is somewhere in this gap here, because this gap is the gap between the too small and the too large. So the closest one of these to the answer is 2.6. So 2.6, and that's our final mark identifying the correct one. Now, second page. Double brackets, we're going to multiply these out. X plus 4 and x minus 3. And you can see it's very similar to the single brackets, except because they're next to each other, they're multiplying, we get 4 terms. So x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. And again, don't be confused about this. This is telling you it's a positive 4. Even if you think it's saying add 4, that's the same thing. X times 3 is minus 3x. And 3 times 4 is 12, but it's not 3 times 4, it's minus 3 times plus 4, so that's minus 12. So we've got a mark now. Our second mark comes from correctly collecting these up. So the x squared always stays on its own. Now, these two here, you can add these up because these are just x's. 4x's and minus 3x's leaves you with positive 1x. And then our minus 12. And that's it. Now we've got t to the 6 times t to the 2. The quick way to do this is to remember a little rule, but let me just show you if you're not sure. T to the 6 means t times t times t, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So t to the 6 means 6 of those. T to the 2, or t squared, means that. And in between them is a time sign. So you can see that I've got 8 t's all in a row there, all times together. So I've got t to the 8. Now the quick way to remember that is to see that, look, the 6 and the 2 add together to make the 8. And that's useful because in the next one it's a divide. We've got an 8 and a 3. So m to the 8 divided by m to the 3 is m to the power of 5. Because when you divide, you subtract the powers. D, simplify 2x in brackets with 3. Now it's not a times sign, that's an x, and what that means is we've got 2 x's times 3, which means we've got 6 x's. Except actually I think this is a misprint, to be honest, and my apologies for this. It's actually 2x to the power 3. So if you haven't had a go at that, then pause the video now and have a quick shot, and I'll do the answer in a minute. So here we are. So 2x, that's what you should have done, 2x to the power 3. So that's 2x times 2x times 2x, which is 8x cubed. And finally, we're going to simplify this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write out all the times signs so you can see them all. So I've got 3 times a squared times h times 4 times a to the 5 times h to the 4. And you all know that multiplying can be done in either order. It doesn't matter. See, I can switch the numbers around, and that's the same here. So I'm just going to pick the order which is most convenient to me. So I'm going to start by doing the 3 times the 4, which gives me a 12. I'm going to cross them off so I don't do them twice. And then I'm going to do the a squared times the a to the 5, which gives me a to the 7. Remember, we add the powers. Now, h is actually h to the power 1. So if I multiply it by h to the power 4, I get h to the power 5. And that is the end of that.